everyone, it's Kathy and you're back here on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today we're going to do another little quick project, something very useful, another gift idea. I'm really into those right now. I am going to be doing a Christmas card on Monday's video, so stay tuned for that because I'm going to be in full Christmas mode. But right now what I'm doing, and this is a prototype, I used some older paper that I had, but we're going to make this cute little post-it note holder and with a pen, and it stands up on your desk like that. But this is what it looks like. Isn't that cute? And your little post-it note fits right down in there, and you've got a place for a pen, so it has a pen holder, and it sits because you have this little accordion fold stand on it. So we're going to do all of that, and then we're going to cover it with some pretty designer series paper. So what is any prettier than the rustic harvest? I used some of this paper the other day when I did the post-it note cover. Everybody loved it. I am a fan of black and white, so I'm going to show you this piece. Is that not gorgeous? It has acorns and oak leaves on it, and it's done in that beautiful black and white. And I think that this is going to pair so well with the piece done in white. And I'm using the thick basic white cardstock. Now what you're going to need to start off with is you're going to need to cut this in half. So you want to put it into your trimmer on the 11-inch side to the top of your trimmer. Cut it in half because half of 11 is 5.5. So you're going to come over to 5.5, line it up, and slice it. Save this piece because we're going to be using it in a moment, so just lay it to the side. Now we're going to work with this piece, and what we're going to need to do with this piece is we are going to need to cut this down. The first thing we're going to need to do is we need to score it. So we're going to score this at 2.5, here at 2 1/4, so 2 1/4. Get that cut blade out of my way so I don't cut my paper, and I'm going to score it 2 1/4, and then we're going to bring it down to 2 3/4 and score it again. Oops, not the cut blade, the score blade. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to do 2 score lines on each side. One is going to be at 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 is going to be 1, 2, 3. So if you're looking at this, a quarter is there. So 3/8 is a little bit more than a quarter, but not quite a half. So it goes those 3 long marks. So you go 1, 2, 3. So 3 is going to be right before the 1/2 inch. So again, I'm going to score all the way up, and then we're going to take it over to the 7/8. So the 7/8 is real easy. It's the long mark right before you get to the 1 inch. So I'm going to score it there. And then I'm just going to pick this up and turn it around, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to go to the 3/8, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 3/8, score it, and then bring it over to the 7/8, which is real simple. The long mark before you get to the 1. And then we got that done. Now we're going to do some trimming because we're going to make this simple and easy for us to do. And I'm going to turn it around like this because I find it easier. And what I want to do is I want to cut. Let me look at my notes to make sure I'm cutting the right place. I want to cut from the top to here. Let's go this way. So I'm going to put that score line right into that track, and I want to cut down to this score line right here. So I can easily come up and see. You got little, I don't know if you can see those, but if you have a little divot on the side of this trimmer, most all trimmers have that, where you can line something up from the side And then I'm gonna, that's the score blade, I'm sorry. Cut blade has the same thing. So I'm gonna lay that onto that line and cut up. Now that should give me a nice even cut on that score line, and it did. So now I'm gonna do it in the opposite direction. I'm gonna put this in on that score line, and this time I'm gonna come to that score line where it intersects right there, and I'm gonna bring my blade down to my cut line, and I can see it and feel it right there, and I'm gonna slice up. Now that gives me both of these pieces now are cut where they're easy to take out. See how they just bend? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to snip those out. And for that I like to just grab my paper snips, and very easy to do. We're just going to, and I'm going to cut the score line away. So I'm just going to snip that right out like that, and you'll feel it when it comes loose, and just like this. So I'm cutting away from the score line. Very simple. Now what we're going to do is on this line right here, we're going to cut up to that second score line. So just follow me up to that second score line. And then we're going to cut this one completely away. So this little piece right here, and I'll have a diagram in my PDF that will show you all of this, which will make it so much simpler for you to be able to make this. And that's when I do a video, I want it to be something that you can do, something that you can make, something that you would be proud to give to someone. Now you have this little tab, and we're just going to do a little angle cut on it. Just get some of that bulk out of there, and do it on both sides, just like that. Now this side's completed. Let's go over and do the same thing on this side. We're going to cut that score line away, and then we're going to cut this little piece away. And then we're going to angle cut this piece, just removing that bulk, and this piece. So this is what your piece should look like when you're finished. This right here is going to be the bottom of our note holder, so we can get rid of our trash. Let me do that. Let's get rid of all of our little bits and pieces. Now save one of these that you cut off of the side, because we're going to use that. We're going to cut this down, and this is going to make our pen and note holder inside of our little pocket. So what you want to do at this point is you want to bring up all of your score lines and just burnish them really well. You know, anytime you're making a 3D project, it really pays to score everything right, and then make sure you burnish it, because you want all of your pieces to come together correctly. So that's what we're doing. We're just gonna get all of those pieces folded nice and tight, and your little tabs, make sure that they are folded in. Give them a good little burnish too, and the same thing here. All right, let's lay this piece to the side, because now we're going to grab that other piece that we had, and we're going to bring our trimmer back out, because this is going to make the back and the easel part of this that stands up. So that's what we're going to do with this. So we're going to cut this piece down, and again, let me look at my notes. We're going to cut this piece down to 3 3/4, I'm sorry, 3 3/4. And then we're going to cut a 1/4 inch off this way. So it needs to be 8 1/4, not 8 1/2. So I'm just going to bring it to here, and I'm going to take off 1/4 inch. Now we need to do a few score lines on this. We're going to score it at I'm gonna do the 1/2 inch over here because it's easier to hold on to. Do a 1/2 inch. Then I'm just gonna flip it around so now I got room to hold it. So we're gonna go to 1 1/2 and give it a good score. And then we're gonna move it over to 2 1/2. And again, give it a good score. Now we're just going to set that piece over to the side. The other thing we want to do now is with the small piece, we want to cut this to 4 1/4. That's that little piece that we had that we cut off the side. And yes, it has a score line down the middle of it, but don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. We're going to put it in here and we're going to score it in 2 places. We're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. Let's turn it and get the straighter edge. Score at a 1/2. And at 1. Okay, and just lay that to the side because we'll be using that once we start putting everything together. Let's go ahead and cut our pieces that we need to decorate our piece. And this is so simple and so easy. You're going to need from your designer series paper 3 1/2 by 4 and 3 1/2 by 2. So what I like to do is just go ahead and cut, do a 3 1/2 inch piece. 3 1/2 right there. Make sure that your papers are lined up, and when I'm cutting a long piece of paper, I like to make sure that I look up here and down to the bottom to make sure that I'm getting everything lined up evenly. I'm going to close that, and I'm just going to slice that in 2. And now we're going to turn this, and we're going to cut this at 4. Double checking to make sure that 4 is correct. Yeah, 4. And then we need one more that's at 2. Yeah, 2 inches. And I'm going to cut another piece that's going to measure 6. And this piece actually measures 6. And I believe that's the length that we need. No, not quite 6. Let me double check that measurement because I want to make sure that we are right. This is going to be 5 1/2. So we're going to cut this off at a 1/2 inch. So that piece is going to be 5 1/2. All right, these are all of the pieces we need to decorate that. 3 small pieces. So easy. I think you're going to love how this goes together and how easy it is. And we're going to go ahead and start with our decorating. And I'm going to put this piece down first because I want this to live right about here. And see how pretty that's going to look against that white? It really makes that white pop out of that paper. So let me get this out of my ear for a minute. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some liquid glue. Now you could use sticky tape or tape runner or whatever, you know, stamp and seal, whatever your favorite adhesive is. But I'm just going to use some glue. Glue is so forgiving, and it gives me a little bit of wiggle room when I put it down to make sure that I'm getting this nice and even and where I want it. And when your pocket comes up, as you can see, that's going to cover that beautifully. Just like that. And the other piece that we had that is the 2-inch piece is going to go on here. So let's go ahead, while we've got this everything open, let's go ahead and put our pieces on. I like to give my glue a nice little pat down rub it down, make sure everything is adhering like it should. Now the piece that we have here, we need to do a mountain fold and then a valley fold on that. That's going to go in like this. So it's going to glue right on that score line. The very bottom, well, it'd be the top score line if you've got your designer series paper here. Let me zoom y'all in a little bit so you can see just a tiny, oops, wrong way, tiny bit better, like that. And then this piece is going to go in just like that. And this tab needs to stay up because it's going to glue to this. I'm going to use my liquid glue for this, and I'll tell you why. If you use sticky tape on this, you may end up with a little bit of a sticky mess inside, because if it raises up, then something's going to get caught in it. Now what you want to do is just bring this all the way over to this side, bring it down to that score line, but make sure it's not impeding that score line. So I lift up on that score line just to make sure. I want to make sure that this comes up with no problem. So our little mechanism is in there. Very, very cute. I'm going to put those tabs down like that. And now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this, and I'm going to adhere that before I put anything down, because I think this is going to help make sure that that's squared up. See what I mean? When I'm holding it up like this, I want that piece to be nice and square right there with that edge. So if I put glue on this now, I can make sure that this piece comes up and sits in here just like that. Now I am going to put glue on my little tab right here. Because I want that to catch. And this is where you might have to take your pick tool or an ink pen or something that you can get down in there with to push that into the glue, the side of it. So what you want to do is make sure that everything is coming together as a box, just like that. So I'm going to use an ink pen or a pencil just to make sure that that's squared up and is glued in there where I want it. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put some glue on this little tab. And then I am going to, and this did not adhere, there, I think it did that time. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to bring that around to the back, but I want that little piece inside to glue to that side. That's important in giving us a nice finished edge on it. So I'm just going to hold that ink pen there just for a minute. It's really not an ink pen, it's a pencil. So now I'm going to put glue on just this little tab. And I'm going to wrap that around the back, making sure everything is squared up. And I'm going to lay it down and take my bone folder and go inside and really give it a good little rub, just to make sure that everything is adhered like I want it. And my little piece is in. My pen holder is in. Now I don't know if you can see in there, but see, my pen holder is nice and squared up, and my tabs are glued down. So now all we have to do is put glue on this piece. And wrap it around, making sure everything's nice and square. And it might help at this point if you wanted to stick a sticky note pad in there, just to give you that what you need to get that in. Now how cute is that? Alright, so now let's go ahead and work with our piece that we're going to make our little stand with. And put my pen back in my glue. Let's see if that, yeah, that's going to work perfectly. So what I want to do is I want to accordion fold these. So I'm going to fold in and out and in. And this piece needs to look like this. So it's going to be valley, mountain, valley. So this is going to be your valley on that 1/2 inch piece. And then the next piece, which is 1 inch, is going to be mountain. And then the last one's going to be a valley. So when it finishes, it should look like this, because this piece is what's going to adhere to the bottom of our base. That's going to adhere right there. And we're going to put some glue or sticky tape. I think here's where I'm going to use sticky tape or tear and tape. And I had my tear and tape just a minute ago. Here it is. So I'm going to take and put 2 pieces of sticky tape on this piece here. Make sure that when you fold it, that it is the top piece. So when you fold this valley, mountain, valley, this right here is your, I'm going to give this a good crease. This is the piece that's showing up. So I am going to take my good old tear and tape. I still like to call it sticky tape, 2-sided tape, whatever you call it. I'm going to put a piece down and I'm going to run it right across there. And I'm just going to use my nail to tear that off. That's why we call it tear and tape. And see, I'm letting it hang over just a little bit. That's okay. And I'm going to bring it to the end and tear it. And then while we're taping, I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to run a piece across my top, just like that. Now we're ready. I'm going to burnish the tapes, and I'm going to use my take your pick tool, and I'm just going to pick up the backer. And you can see where I kind of let that hang over a little bit. I'm just going to fold it back. And I'm not going to take this piece off yet. I'm going to do the bottom first. So what you want to do is lay your piece upside down. This piece right here, you want to lay it upside down like that. And then you want to line this up with the bottom of your holder. Give it a good press. Then you're going to take your sticky tape off from the top. And then here is so simple. We're just going to fold. If you got any tape hanging over, just make sure you fold it back onto itself so you don't have any sticky tape hanging out. Go across the top as well. And then you're going to fold this flat and just let those 2 pieces meet up at the top. Give it a good press. Maybe even go over it with your bone folder. And there you go. We can drop a pin in here. Just like that, and we have our note holder. But we're going to want to decorate this little bad boy. So I am going to take, I think I want to put on the front just a note. And I love this one right here that says just a note. It is this one right here. It's the medium size one. And that will fit perfectly in our lovely and lasting punch. Now if you want to use the stamp set, which would be gorgeous, let's do that. Since we're not really using a lot of stamps, let's get the lovely and lasting stamp set and see if we can put a little stitch thing around that stamp. So let's do that. Why not? So I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock. And I know I got scraps over here because I was using, well, let's look down here. I know I got scraps down here. this piece right here just may work. Okay. I'm going to grab that stamp out that gives me that little border. And you can see that stamp's been well loved because it is nice and stained, which is a good thing. Like I said, I've always said this, a stained stamp is a love stamp. So I'm going to try to get that as nice and close on there as I can get, and you can see that's going to fit in there perfectly after we get it stamped. So I'm going to bring over my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I have one dedicated for stamping and one for piercing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one on. The reason I'm using the foam mat for this is a photopolymer stamp and it doesn't have the cushion. If you notice on these stamps, you have that little bit of cushion right there. So since we don't have it on the photopolymer, you always get a much clearer and better image if you do this like this. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And since I'm not coloring this, I'm just stamping, I'm using another ink pad. This is our VersaFine. Stampin' Up! Does not carry VersaFine. I wish they did. It is my favorite ink for not coloring with. Or if you're doing watercolors, it's great for watercolor because it's a pigment ink, not a dye ink. And you always get a much richer image with the pigment ink. See how pretty that is, how dark it is? Alright, so now what I want to do is I'm going to pick up, I'm going to put this right here in the middle. Just like that. And I'm going to pick it up with this. This might help me center everything up. And again, I'm going to tap into my VersaFine ink. And I'm going to come in and hopefully get this nice and straight. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Let me set this over on my Stampin' Chamois so I can clean it off. I like to clean that pigment ink off immediately because it has a tendency to stain a little bit more than the dye ink because the dye ink is water-based. All right, so now we're going to bring our punch in. Love this punch. I think it's so pretty. And I'm going to center this in. Let's see, I should have done it the other way. Let's do it backwards. I'll do it like this because I am right-handed and I can't do anything with my left hand except hand my right hand something to do. And that looks pretty good. And if you want to, you can cut a little strip like I did on the other one. And I think I might do that with the white. Let's cut us a little strip that's going to be about 3 3/4. Let's see if we got 3 3/4 on here. We do. Alright, I'm going to lay this over here, get that ink out of my way. We don't need that anymore. So I'm going to cut 3 3, a little shy of 3 3/4. And I want it to be about 3/4 of an inch wide. Just a little accent there to run through the middle of that. You could also do some ribbon if you wanted to, which would be extremely cute. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to run that across there. Let's see what it looks like. Well, I don't know. I think I might like it. Oh, wrong piece. Yeah. I have an idea. I'm always full of ideas, y'all know that. And I do create on the fly. And I think most of y'all know that about me. I want a thin piece, about 1/4 of an inch of black to run through there. I think just that little bit more of black on there is really going to set it off. So I'm going to go maybe about 3/8 of an inch, a little bit over 1/4. Just a nice little strip to run through there. And I'm not going to glue anything down until I kind of get an eyeball if this is what I want to do. So I'm going to center that up on there. I'm going to lay this piece over it. Oops. And then I'm going to lay this down on top of it. I love that. I really love that. That dresses it up and really makes it pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bead of glue down this piece. Actually, I'm going to trim it before I do that. I'm just going to hold it there. I'm going to grab my paper snips and I'm just going to snip it off even with the white. Just like that. And then I'm going to run a line of glue down the middle of this. It's not going to take a lot of glue to hold this. Just like that. And then I want to try my best to center this onto this piece. Oh, I love black and white. It's so elegant. Now we can glue this down right here in the center. I'm trying to decide if I want to put a ribbon on it. I'm not sure, but I am gonna go ahead and glue this down. Come on, glue. There we go. And then I'm just going to set this down right about there. And then I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. So I'm going to put one there, one there, one here. I'm going to go ahead and put 5 on this because I want to make sure that this is nice and sturdy and that it's going to hold. So one in the middle. Grab my Take Your Pick tool and I'm just going to lift off all of my backers. Yep, I think I got them all. And I am going to set this down right in the middle, just like that. Is that not beautiful? My pen stuck to it. We're still not done though. I'm not going to put that pen up yet. Turn it over and remember our piece that we cut. Trying to decide if this is directional, and you know what, I don't think it is. We're going to put this on the back. So I am going to run glue again. Just like that. And put that down. And glue it. Isn't that pretty? Now our note holder is done. How quick and easy was that? And it's so pretty. And if you wanted to, you could take a piece of that paper and you could very easily open this pen, and I showed y'all how to do that, and cut a piece of that paper and put inside. But because this is black and white, I think this pen works fine with this, just like it is. That is so pretty, so elegant, and I love it. I hope y'all did. I hope this is a project that you might want to try yourself. Remember all of the measurements along with some diagrams, cutting dimensions, and how to trim everything out properly will be on my blog. So as soon as this goes up, I'll try to have my blog done, and I hope, let me zoom y'all out just a little bit so you can see it in its loveliness. Isn't that, I am in love with this. I like this one when I did it, but I really think I like this one better. This one came out better. You know, the first time you make something, it's not quite as good as the second go round. So I love this. I think this would be so nice to give to teachers, Sunday school teachers, your beauticians, maybe the girl that does your nails. Just so many things that you could do with this. So cute. So versatile. I hope you'll make it. If you are interested in any of the products you saw me use today, these are all new and in our catalog. I'll have a list of everything on my PDF with all the order numbers, also the link to my online store. So if you're interested in going. Now the notepads, I got these from, I think I got these at Walmart, but you can pick these up on Amazon. The pens, I got those at Walmart. You can pick those up also online. But everything else, the stamps, the paper, the punches, all the rest of this is Stampin' Up, and you can order it on my online store. I love you guys so much, and as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. So until we craft again, know that you're in my thoughts and prayers, and I love you all. Bye-bye.